So what happened to MU5735? How on earth could a major Chinese airline have a major crash? March the 21st is a day worth remembering, and it will surely go down in history. On that day, all of a sudden, a major Chinese aircraft, Boeing 377, just had just nosedived and flew into the ground and exploded. People on the plane are estimated to be 130 plus. By far, we do not know whether they are alive or not. Let's hope they are. So when I heard that particular story yesterday, I was utterly shocked and unable to work for the entire afternoon. How on earth could such an event happen? I mean, if you look at the data, so you might assume that Chinese airlines are not safe, so it might happen sometime, but it's not. So let's take a proper look at the picture. So on the picture, it says since 2010 to 2012, until the day the event happened, the entire Chinese airlines hadn't had a single death for a straight of 2,227 days. That's 12 years of safety records. So this means that Chinese airlines have an international, one of the world's best flying record. That's to say, it's one of the world's safest airlines. And yet, it took only one single major event to destroy this very safety record. And all of your previous safety efforts just went in vain. It was rendered useless. A plane just crashed. The confidence crashed. My confidence crashed. The world is watching. It's absolutely shocking. We could look at a simulation video from this website. So from here, you could see that seemingly the plane was flying in a perfect condition. Weather was nice. Flight condition looks well, and all of a sudden it nosedived into the ground and blew. What happened? What the heck happened? And if you watch the Flight Radar 24 website, it's a website that has real-time telemetry data for all these commercial airlines. We could do a replay of this airline. It went from Kunming City to Guangzhou City, both in South China. So at first, it looks perfectly fine. It was in a perfect condition. You took off, flying to a higher altitude, and then you shift into a stable mode. And all of a sudden, you basically had a free fall, or worse, you could argue this is an accelerator free fall into the ground. The sheer velocity, the vertical velocity is just utterly shocking. You could notice that here, maybe in 2 or 3 minutes, you just dropped to the ground from a 30K feet altitude. Absolutely shocking. I believe the passengers were all terrified. So also this kind of event is it was thought to be highly unlikely. So Chinese Airlines was safe. This is for one. Also, the crashed airplane is not some bad commercial airplane. It was it was fairly safe. At least it was believed to be safe. It was not a Boeing 337 MAX, that 41. It was not. It was the most widely used commercial airplane in the world, as we can check here from New York Times. The the crashed aircraft was a Boeing 377-800 NG, which was widely used around the world. So this is an absolutely shocking message. It means one of the world's safety airplane plus one of the world's most safety airline companies. You got this combination and still yet you crash on the daylight for no reason. This means it's either the airline or the plane, the Boeing 377 or something else. The entire plane is not reliable, it's not safe at all. At least that's what we might think unconsciously. That's our thinking psychologically. It means this accident could happen on you and me. It could happen on virtually everybody. We still live here just because we are lucky. If we were unlucky, we could maybe we wouldn't be here right now. So this is a very shocking message. It seems to suggest that we live here just because we are lucky. It was so shocking. I almost dare not to take a flight anymore. So in this video, I still like to hope for the best, wish for the best. I like to think maybe they are safe. They can be saved. Maybe they are hidden somewhere. They can still live there. Maybe someone else can find them and dispatch, save them, and send them into hospital of some kind. Let's think I like to pretend they are safe. So, but in the meanwhile, I would like to think about why this might happen. I mean, from this kind of accident, what can we learn from this? How could we ever prevent this from happening again? So this, as you can see from the title, this is only a part 1 video, and I haven't made this very complicated and very complete. So basically, I have two kind of hypotheses of why this might happen. First one being this is an aircraft hijacking. Second one is, which I believe is more likely, is the disintegration in the middle of the air. That is the theory I'm bought into. And I find many people online also adopt this theory and have given their rationale. So let's go through these theories one by one. The first is this a aircraft hijacking? So this picture actually from a Chinese social website, Weibo. So of course these are just anecdotal evidences and there is no official data or evidence backing this. So you could argue this is all conjecture or maybe somebody just made it up. But it's still worth paying some attention to it. So the first line in Chinese says, Well, it is believed in the industry that the pilot has sent a signal of 7,500. While 7,500 in aviation industry means this this cockpit is being hijacked. This is a warning signal for others to be noticed. So, well, this is one of the basis for this theory. So you could choose to believe it or not. I think you shouldn't pay in too much weight on it since this is not fully backed up by other evidences. So also there is a chat messages, which is somebody that is doing the simulation. Well, first he gathered data from flight radar 24. It shows that before the crash, the descendant rate is around 157 meters per second. That is 9,420 meters per minute. To convert this to professional unit, that's 31k feet per minute. And he further entered these data descendant rate in the simulation software. Which simulation software? I do not know. Maybe it's Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you know the answer, do not hesitate to comment. And he got the pose of this picture, and it happens to fit the actual plane posture in the falling process. As for the falling video, I happen to have one on this YouTube video. So actually, I could comment on this. This video actually went from a CCTV footage from a nearby factory where the plane had landed. The people were chatting before the crash, and all of a sudden the plane crashed. People were equal shocked in this video. So this is the trajectory of the plane that had nosedived. So as you can see from the picture, it's basically a vertical line with some forward velocity, but the most conspicuous one is still the vertical direction. It's basically nosedived with your plane's head down to the ground. It happens also very fit this kind of simulation picture. So maybe this simulation is somewhat accurate for the real scenario. And actually the original chat message elaborate on and says this looks rather deliberate, and as a human, as a normal person, you seldom can you play this kind of trajectory. So it's likely that you have been hijacked and forced to, or unwillingly, or someone just took control of your cockpit and doing something crazy. Or maybe the captain were busy fighting with some terrorist and accidentally the plane had slept into this kind of dangerous move. Maybe. So as for the record, I do not claim to be a flight expert. I'm just no ordinary citizen. So what I'm here providing is some bunch of information that I gathered online. So the conclusion, I cannot draw a definite conclusion. It's up to up to you to decide which is the true cause. So theory number two, which is what I believe in more, is that the airplane just there is no so it's not fall to the ground all of a sudden. So the airplane had some material damage, or due to some mysterious reason it had a disintegration in midair and had maybe break up. So and the control system maybe went uninfected and you cannot save. And as a result, you nosedived and fell into the ground. This is a theory that I'm more inclined to. So why? Because yeah, I think I shall elaborate in the follow-up videos. So I can say a few points here. So first is I found a lot of person online that suggesting this is possible. For one, this is because others are saying so. For second, because there are some evidence that these, well, despite Chinese airlines having a very good flight record, in recent years or months, it has been signs that these airline companies, in order to cut costs, they did a poor job in maintaining these airplanes. So it could be just that the airplane, this particular airplane, is badly maintained as a result of cutting down costs. So this is a more likely scenario, which is this. I want to emphasize this theory number two, mid-air breakup, disintegration, is what I'm more inclined to. So that's basically for now. What to expect in the coming days or coming months? First, we have to hope, and if we can help, we should help to maybe to save these passengers. How could we find them? How could we save them? How could we do our best to make them alive and well? Second, is a sad news that maybe we will never know from official source what's the true cause of the plane crash. So, say for example, the true cause of crash is a mid-air breakup, and that is because the airlines are to cut their costs, to create more revenues, to cut down costs, and as a result, they messed up maintaining this plane, thus causing this tragedy. But think it from a propagandist perspective. If this is known to the public, is it a bad news? Is it a bad news that destroy the reputation of the entire country, that our country is safe and we care about human lives over money? So from this vantage point, from this perspective, it might be. So for them, they might have the incentive to lie. Maybe they could point the fingers to some random passengers, claim they are maybe they was back up theory number one. They will point fingers to some random passengers, claiming, whoa, it's you that hijacking the cockpit, endangering the captain that doing these dangerous maneuvers. So in this fashion, they could shift the attention from the overall safety measures of the airline to blaming a single dead, maybe I'm not trying to say that maybe to some random people. So that is possible, but it's I cannot say this with 100% evidence confidence because well since this event has already festered so much, it's basically known to the entire world. It's very, very hard to cover it up. Maybe under this huge pressure, they might actually tell the truth that, oh, it's because are not we haven't maintained the airplane to a very good condition that's causing this tragedy. They might actually tell the news, but it's not guaranteed. I'm saying this because, well, the Chinese, whatever you call it, the government, the official mouthpiece, all these medias, they have a bad track record of telling the public the truth. Too many times they have covered up with bullshit. So you have to take this official news with a grain of salt. This is what I want to convey to you. So also, well, after H&R accident, because this is a Boeing plane, Boeing might dispatch some expert to examine what is really going on. Well, I'm sure Boeing will have the willingness to dispatch engineers to examine what is really going on, but whether they are accepted or not, it's still not guaranteed. Maybe they will block them from telling the truth, examine the true cause. It's always intertwined with political factors. So there's still no guarantee. As for U.S. Investigation Authority, NTSB, will they be granted access? Will they granted green lights from entering to this accident place to examine what's going on? Also, at least there is no precedence. So maybe at a high confidence, 90% plus, it won't be allowed to enter. Also, since this is a Chinese accident, will the NTSB be responsible for this? Because ultimately, it's not their jurisdiction. This accident, after all, happened in China rather than in the soil of the United States. Technically, it's not NTSB's responsibility. They might out of professional altitude to help, but still, it's up to two factors: the willingness of NTSB to help and the willingness of Chinese authorities to let them in. So, intertwined with so many factors, it's hard to say whether we will know the true cause or not. So, for now, I think what we can do is to spread all possible information and let the world public to decide for their own what is right, what is wrong, what is possible, what is impossible. So, of course, there will be follow-up videos to share what I have known, what I have seen, what I have gathered on the internet. And I'm expecting to share these valuable information with you. Thank you.